However, there is a pylon down on the low ground. We know from past games in the Defender League this season that she does enjoy doing that, going for the Forge Fast Expand or some variation of a Fast Expand. Face the Sun has gone for the pool first, as a probe is in position to try and block a hatchery if it was going down. It looks like Poizon's just going to go for the Nexus based on how much he has saved up here. And that is indeed what it will be. Whether Face the Sun decides to take advantage of that with the earlier pool remains to be seen here. The pylon from Poizon is actually part of the wall, so that can make it a little bit weaker, but it can also mean that it's closed a little bit faster overall. It is the Forge coming down there first. And so far we have Face the Sun not taking his natural, but taking the gold base up over here. And that's actually a pretty interesting move. Because this probe is in place at the natural, may think that another drone hasn't come down, may just think that this is a straight up one base play. And because this is Forge first and the gateway itself is delayed a lot by getting the Nexus and Forge, it's going to be quite a while before she realizes that this is in fact there and can actually respond to it. So maybe taken by surprise a little bit. The probe now coming in with sees early lings, which is actually kind of good for Face the Sun, as again it reinforces the idea that this might be a one base attack that she has to prepare for. So we'll see what the reaction is over on Poizon's side of things. Two gases are now up and coming up, and the natural is now taken by Face the Sun here. So a further scout would reveal that that's there and still give no indication that the gold itself was taken. No gas yet for Face the Sun at all. Just taking the first two extractors as the gold base has completed. Lings are kind of taking the long way around the map, I think basically looking for any proxy pylons that have been placed. Although he's got the Overlord over the over the wall there, so he knows that no units have actually been produced or anything yet. We'll poke in with the Lings, see what is blocking that spot. Just a single probe, but isn't going to go in with slow Lings. And Poizon chronos out one of these stalkers just to make sure that there is something to defend. Gases are done by Face the Sun, now loading them up with drones, or at least one of them. There comes the second. The natural itself is almost done, which represents the third base. Over on the gold, though, yeah, okay, he's just transferring some from his main now, but there so far hadn't been any mining at that location. So even though it's been up for a bit, it was kind of neglected there for a little bit of time. Stalker will come out to chase this Overlord down. The Lings may contest that. At least one of them does, wants to defend its Overlord. But now with the gold-based mining, we're going to see Zerg's mineral income actually just right now just catch up to what Poizon's is. Because of the later hatchery, there's actually only 25 drones out now compared to 38 probes on Poizon's side. So even with the gold, the overall mining is actually still quite a bit slower than you would expect at this point in the game. But a lot of drones are continuing to be made 8 at a time right now, and that should be able to climb up relatively quickly. Again, Poizon's end of things not looking like aggression will be coming at any very near point. However, both a robotics facility and a Twilight Council going down at the same time in Poizon's natural base. So fairly heavy investment into various stages of tech. The Twilight may just be to continue upgrades on the Forge, as a third comes down on Poizon's side. Gets scouted by the Ling there, but so far no attempt to actually contest that from Face the Sun, as there are very few, actually no units other than, say, Queens out on the map for him. 14 drones coming, and after this he'll be at a much more comfortable number. It's very strange though, he's got all the drones rallied to like other places. So he sent this group of, what do you got, 6 drones down to the natural instead of mining the gold. There's still only actually 5 mining at that gold base, so definitely a good move to take it, but maybe a little bit of a lackluster move and not prioritizing the saturation of that first. He may think it's better to leave it, given that it will mine out quicker, but I'm not sure about that. The Nexus on Poizon side and finishing up here, and again, so far uncontested. As it does go up, the Mothership Core would be able to photon overcharge in the event of an attack, and Poizon is moving out with a Immortal, Sentries, and Stalkers. They'll come in and find this gold base here and start going to work on that. Roaches have been started to be constructed by FaceTheSun there. A few of them are out, but this base will definitely fall down here. Some force fields catching a couple of drones as they work on this base. Roaches trying to find a good defensive position in which to engage this. He's still waiting on Roach speed to be done, which could certainly help when engaging Immortals with Sentry support. Where is the proxy? Yeah, there was a proxy pylon now up for Poizon. A Roach is going to pop out right in the midst of all this. And a fairly scary looking army for Poizon is bearing down on what I think she probably expected a third there, maybe not because of the gold, but bearing down on that position here now. Spine crawlers, 2 of them have gone up. There are a good number of Roaches out. However, with really good force fields, this will still have a hard time doing much damage. Supply block there. Lings to support this. Doesn't want to go off creep right now. Wants to try and bait out some of the force fields and then fight in position with the spine crawlers. But he's actually got to be kind of aggressive in this position, given that he's the one that's on 2 bases versus 3 of Poizon's. He can't just wait there and try and absorb the attack, because just containing the Zerg player in this point is still a victory in limiting the economy and so on. So I think the Zerg has the impetus on him to go out and try and be a bit aggressive. Ling's going off to the side here, trying to take out that probe and pylon, as Zealots kind of get warped in. Interesting decision, given that there's a whole bunch of Roaches that were obviously going to kill them immediately. But yeah, still an effort. The Immortals are out there still. A lot of energy on the Sentries. Oh, I see. I think that was the time to engage. He actually got contact with the Stalkers and one of the Immortals and pulled back to a safer position. At the very least, FaceTheSun needs a macro hatchery, as he's unable to spend the money that he has. Now pulling the army up, still being, I think, just way too defensive at this point in the game. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what he's waiting on. Carapace is about to finish. That's a possibility. But if he doesn't go at that point, then I'm not sure what he is, in fact, waiting for. And baits out some of the Roaches. Not paying attention is FaceTheSun. Good force fields there, picking things off, and only having to deal with half the army. And that's the issue with this, is if the Protoss chooses when to engage, first of all, he doesn't need to engage at all. He's perfectly content to just contain this entire force forever. And when he chooses to engage, you have these little clumps of Roaches coming up, and the army is decimated before you even actually try and engage, which is what's happening here. These Roaches are all going to get picked off. I think this could have been dealt with earlier, but not with 4 Immortals and this many force fields there. The spine crawlers going down as Poizon marches in, and the GG is called by FaceTheSun. So strong game, strong timing by Poizon. Hello, we are back here on Secret Spring, and our Zerg player over on the left-hand side of the map here, representing SSG, it is Face the Sun. Currently down 0-1 in this series, and the player that took the first game there from Team Gravity, it is our Protoss player, Poizon. Going for the pylon at the ramp, almost would be shocked if it wasn't there, basically. And as I mentioned prior to the game, this does have the in-base natural up on the high ground, so that one can be quite easy to take. However, it is the third bases which can be quite a distance away. Even though it's like close by air, it just takes a long time to actually walk around and defend those positions adequately. The gateway coming down up front, so a little bit more of a aggressive potential opening from Poizon in this game. Last time went for the Nexus and the Forge prior to a gateway. As Face the Sun takes the hatchery first as opposed to a pool in this game. Interesting, Poizon has actually taken a gas prior to... yeah, it doesn't look like she's lined up for a cyber core yet. And not putting any probes on it. Now hiding a pylon up on the top side, and now maybe coming in for the cyber core. So this could be some sort of hidden tech, or attempt at a hidden tech, hoping that this Overlord does not see it, and he's not currently waypointed to go in that direction. Gas now being mined there. And no expansion coming, of course, for Poizon. The spawning pool is underway on Face the Sun's side of things, as she is moving up to take the Nexus. There's an Overlord drifting towards the position of that pylon, but not actually, doesn't actually look like it's going to be in range to see any tech that goes there. Not for the moment anyway, but may swing in for a scout a little bit later on. The cyber core is done, so it doesn't, and we don't see what that tech is going to be, or whether it could just be more gateways in that position. Time will tell on that one. Face the Sun still just kind of droning up here, going for speed out of that pool, but no third base, no tech really to speak of at this point. And a Twilight Council coming down for Poizon at that proxied location, or not really proxy, but kind of hidden in base. Given the hiding factor of this, could easily be a DT attempt. That Overlord so precariously close to this position could swing in. There's two Overlords that could go for a scouting trip at some point, but aren't doing so just yet, so could end up missing this tech route. Going up to lair is Face the Sun, so that will at least provide potential detection if that's what it is, but it looks like it is not, as Blink is actually going to be researched by Poizon. That's a pretty interesting call. Obviously a lot more micro-intensive one, but well-controlled Blink Stalkers certainly can dominate if they are up against things like roaches. If they are, however, up against mass Speedling, that can be a little harder. And Speedling is the only tech out yet for Face the Sun. Also, there is, currently only the one gateway, two more now coming down. And a fourth. They will be done in time for the Blink to be done. But a Nidus network is coming down for Face the Sun, and a lot of Lings are coming for Face the Sun as well. 30 being made here. That Overlord that could have been in position to scout the Twilight Council is actually going to be in position to put this Nidus network down up at the natural base of Poizon. Poizon does not really have an army. Has one Zealot and one Stalker. Now these gateways are done, so there will be a reinforcement potential, but this is definitely going to throw off the plan of going for blink. And if she warps in stalkers at this point, then that could end up being disastrously the wrong thing. Obviously needing zealots here. The Nidus Worm is finishing up. Lings are unloading from that position. 52 Lings are on the map. She's got to see them now as they make their way down. We'll try and kill off a bunch of probes. Instantly surround these stalkers. They do have blink. Do have to reveal that, but as I said, speedlings are excellent at dealing with that sort of thing, and there's a whole ton of speedlings in the main mineral line here, just going to town on these probes. Only 13 of them left, 10 of them left, swarming over the remainder of this small army, just destroying everything. Even with the zealots now coming in a decent position, are not going to be able to cut through this. It certainly won't stop the reinforcements coming for FaceTheSun. He's taken over that one quite handily and bringing this series back to 1-1. And we are back here for game number 3 in this tight series. Neither game was tight, but the series is tight. Up on the top of the map, we have from Team SSG. It is our blue Zerg player. He is FaceTheSun. Poizon experiencing a little lag on her end. FaceTheSun, I guess, feeling the same. I've gotten on from the observer position. Yeah, I don't see any stuttering at all on my end of things, but if the players do, we could always try and pause or something if it gets too bad. But if it's been happening in all their games so far, then apparently they're both willing to play through it. Down here on the bottom middle of the map, we have our purple Protoss player representing Team Gravity. It is Poizon. Again, pylon towards the ramp. We've got a similar situation of an in-base natural, same as Secret Spring, although the map itself is obviously quite different from that. A probe positioned at the natural base of the Zerg player, trying to block that hatchery from going down. The Zerg gets the first hit off as the probe attempts to move around the area and block the hatchery. I think a few times it's been out of the way enough that a hatchery could have been made. And there it does come down, but with a second drone coming in to help. And I do find that those little tactics, the little things that do make FaceTheSun have to actually micro or control an extra unit that he wasn't planning on, do actually hurt his macro fairly substantially. So you saw as soon as we came back to his base after the hatchery had gone down that there were 3 larvae sitting there. So little lapses, I think, from these just tiny pieces of harassment can definitely be very effective. And sometimes you don't think of it, but just annoying your opponent a little bit can just throw their things off by a few seconds here or there, and that really does end up adding up for you. As long as you can do the harassment without hurting your own macro. A forge at the ramp there and a photon cannon coming down to join it as both gases are being taken by Poizon. FaceTheSun in a perfect position to see the timing on both. We'll give them some idea of what tech options are going to be available. This drone is still chasing this probe basically across the entire map. I think wants to make sure that this is not used to place any proxy pylons or something like that. Queen now coming out on FaceTheSun side out of both hatcheries. Probe checking that third base position, seeing that there is no expansion there yet again. So far, the only kind of fast third was when FaceTheSun took the gold and then took the natural. Gets Cybercore down and another pylon being placed kind of away from the main group of things, although that one's in a position that's much more likely to be spotted by an overlord or something, but we'll see if that is an attempt to hide something a little bit later on here. Ling's coming to try and chase that probe away. Still very focused on the concept of killing that probe, as a Roach Warren is finishing up in the back of FaceTheSun's base. One thing that's become very clear is that Poizon's going to be ahead in economy early in the games. Once again, we've got 34 probes to just 21 drones. And yeah, Chrono Boost helps a bit, but the Protoss probably shouldn't be this far ahead at this point in the game, and is here. Roaches are coming out, though, for FaceTheSun, and this could be a bit of a misstep, given that you have to come up a single ramp with a cannon already there, which I believe he knows is there, and a very relatively small number of troops is going to be able to defend that type of thing. And I don't think there's going to be a Nidus. Actually, that's probably what that other pylon was for, was to detect Nidus worms if they do, if he does attempt that again. So roaches are making their way across, and there's 8 of them there. But with a sentry at the top, there's going to be one force field. The second sentry is coming out for another. Just a few units are going to be able to hold this, not to mention the mothership core, which obviously cannot be attacked by these units. More roaches, or more lings actually, are going to come and join this, along with a couple of roaches. But this may be just kind of doomed to not work based on almost pure position of things. It looks like a Baneling nest coming down for FaceTheSun, so he may be thinking to completely block this, or just bust this open. Poizon moving out with a probe, but we'll not see the gathering forces. The army with a lot of sentries now kind of halfway down the ramp here. And a few lings do catch that probe coming out. Banelings are being morphed in. Good force fields obviously can just completely stop those if she is on her game. So we'll see how that goes. They're obviously not going to have speed or anything. They're not on creep. So it could be a little tough to actually connect on these. And now what used to be a fairly small army by Poizon is actually quite a sizable one. A few lings running in to see what's going on here. May actually be able to draw some units out more into the open. And there's an immortal there, completely exposed. Banelings coming in, trying to go after these units. The force field's not very effective here. Trying to get back into the base there. Only 2 sentries are actually left, although there are definitely more force fields available on them, and this attack is a little more effective than I would have thought. However, it is still on a 2-base economy. He looks to not be continuing with that attack, however, and there's kind of a time limit on how quickly he has to go in for this before it's just going to be able to be force fielded off completely again. And I think that window is already closed. So yeah, more effective than I thought, and then less effective than I thought, because the ramp was probably broken if he had really pushed the issue. Had a couple of Banelings left too, I believe. We'll have to go down and take the 3rd base there. FaceTheSun will attempt to macro up from this position, but he doesn't even have lair tech yet. The army is going home. Knows that the Protoss is on 2-base, but 2-base to 2-base as a Zerg player, not the type of place that you actually want to be in. A Dark Shrine now coming down for Poizon. She's basically been able to tech to everything. Twilight Council there, Colossus is a capability, and a few Immortals are already out onto the field, or 2 of them, going for the +2 weapons about 2/3 of the way done, and FaceTheSun unfortunately pulling back to a more defensive position for the time being. The Baneling attack kind of did work, but then didn't make it all the way through. Or he didn't even really try to go all the way through. Poizon now establishing that 3rd base. This time I don't believe it will be stopped before it gets to mining. And with 46 probes to 31 drones, we'll definitely be in a very strong economic advantage over her opponent. Hydra Den coming down along with an Evo Chamber. Route Speed coming out. And against this Gateway Immortal army, Hydras would be good, but with the addition of the Colossus in there now and the second one coming out, the Hydras are certainly not really the way you want to go. One benefit that was gained from the earlier Baneling attack is that the sentry count is a little lower than it would have been otherwise, as there would have been another handful of sentries in with this, whereas there's only 4 now. So there is a limit to the number of force fields that are available. It's still okay. It's not like they were all eliminated, but there is definitely a bit of a limit on it. DTs are making their way towards the third base of Face the Sun, and I'm kind of looking around for detection, and it's in the main and natural, but there is no detection actually at this third base. If the DTs just want to target fire it down, they will definitely kill it before anything can stop it, trust me. And 2 DTs coming into the main. There is detection there, but may be able to do some damage before it is stopped. Going after this queen, now out of detection range, and attacking Hydras. The other DT actually just kind of attacking the main army there. And a queen goes down at the natural as well, and probably could have just outright gone for the Spore Crawler, but is going for the drones there to get the guaranteed damage off. And the Hydra Den actually falls to a single DT. There is a Overseer now brought in, and we'll clean up that one. The second DT at the natural now has 18 kills, 19 kills, going for the hatchery. That was definitely very effective. We're now at 64 probes to 28 drones. The DT still doing some work there, getting another 2 kills, as this total attack has killed 21 drones, 22 drones, as the third DT is still alive in the third base outside of Face the Sun's main. Army will have to swing around and pick this one off before he's able to kill the hatchery, and does manage to at least keep that hatchery alive, but a lot of drones have to be made at this point, 5 being made right now, but there's 4 Colossus on the other side, 2 Immortals on the other side, a complete 3-base economy going on, and just more and more coming all the time here. +3 attack is almost done there as well, compared to 1-0 on the Zerg side. So this could be quite a massacre when it does end up happening. Hydra Den is being rebuilt by Face the Sun as he tries to come back from this position. Not actually remaking even a queen yet at the natural base, so the injects are a bit slower. Not injecting with the queen at the main either. Sees the 4th base coming up, but not sure that there's a lot he can do with it. A few Lings coming in and instantly killed by this army, which now comes out to meet the Roach Force, and doesn't even really need these force fields, but does do it. GG is obvious there, and Poizon ends up taking the series with a very strong just overall macro game, and